Hello everyone. So in this video, I'm gonna be showing you how to develop a chat application using the large language model from the Azure AI Foundry. And I'm gonna be um, showing you how to write that application with the Flask web application. And then finally, I'm gonna deploy it on the web using the Azure web application. So this is the major workflow that I'm going to do step by step. So the first of all, I'm going to show you how to use the Azure AI Foundry, and then I'm going to show you Flags and to create the user interface to have the same structure like we have ChatGPT, and then we are going to test in our local computer, and then we are going to define it to make it accessible to the public. So at the end of the video, you're going to know how to create and define a model in Microsoft Azure AI Foundry, and how to get and use Azure OpenAI endpoints, and how to connect to the model using Python and Flask, and also how to use the web interface using the HTML and some style sheet and JavaScript. And finally, and how to define the whole thing as the web application. Okay, let's get started. So first of all, let me open the Microsoft Foundry, and you must have an account on the Microsoft Azure. For me, I have a account from my organization. With that limit, actually, my account has this kind of limitation. But with the limitation, I'm gonna show you how to create within that limitation. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to create the new Foundry workspace. So in order to do that, so let's go to start building. So you need to create a new project. So I'm gonna create a new project. So this is my name, and okay, this is the default number. So I'm gonna go with the default setting. So it should be it should wait a few minutes. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video and come back after getting that instance. Okay, in my creation, I got it with the errors, but don't worry. This is because I chose the actually default region is the US East. My account aligned with the Japanese region, so that is why I'm going to choose the Japan instead of the US. So you can choose the Japan East or Japan West. Okay, then I'm going to create again. Okay, it takes a while to finish things up. So after getting that like a kind of project, so inside of that project, you can create the many scenario, like if you want to create some agent and some workflow and some large language model, and you can do many tasks like classification or like image classification or some computer vision projects or NLP projects, whatever you like. There are a lot of services provided by the Microsoft Azure. So it will be fun if you can explore. There's some kind of options. So if you're using some kind of the subscription, that full subscription, you can play around with many models. But for me, I'm gonna use some kind of the models that is available for my subscription. Okay, now I got it. This is my project endpoint. So you have to keep it. You have to save this your project endpoint and your project API number, because in the code that we are going to implement, you will certainly need this kind of endpoint and API. That is why I'm going to save it somewhere. You can save anywhere you like. So whatever you create that project, you need to save. So after completing the development process of this application, maybe you can delete it. So in that case, if you recreate the new project, so this will give you the new endpoint and new API and key. So that is why it will need as long as you keep it in the Azure. So I'm gonna delete after demonstrating on this YouTube video. And so next time, maybe even if I use the same code, that API key and endpoint will be different. Okay. Once you have made a note, you can go on. We can move forward to the next process. So here we are going to start. You can choose what kind of scenario you are going to create. Would you create it with agents, or would you create your projects with the predefined workflow. So in the case, you can follow the some of the workflow they already defined, or you can also your custom workflow and things like that. You can have a lot of options you can choose. And now we are going to choose the browse model. We are going to browse the model and what kind of models we can available. So let's look at that. Okay, here's the model we can use. There are a lot of models here. So when you scroll down and a lot of models will appear. So there are GPT, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and Claude. So they are like a little bit expensive model. For me, with my organization subscription, I cannot choose them because let me show you. If I choose like this here, for example, I'm gonna choose this one. And if I choose this, I'm not able to define or, okay, here's showing the define. But if I use real deployment, they will need, they will give me some kind of errors because of our subscription is low. Then the necessary subscription. That is why I'm gonna pick the free one. So that model is the free released by the Microsoft. And I actually use it from Hugging Face directly. And you can also use the Hugging Face directly, or you can use via the Azure. So I'm going to use this one. So 5.4 mini instruct. So if you choose the instruct model means you need to give some kind of instruction to the model and to tell them what is this about, what is you are going to create. Like, are you going to create like a medical related chatbot or educational chatbot and things like that? That is why you can define some kind of instruction. Okay, here you are some kind of the AI assistants and things like that. You're going to give that kind of instruction. I will show you in the code. So I'm going to choose the deadline. So there are two types of settings, and I'm going to choose the default setting. And when you choose the default setting, depending on the model you choose, there are a little bit different questions. For example, for the Microsoft 5.4, they don't ask any form or like you don't need to submit anything. So if you use like a meta model, they will ask you, what is this for, and what you are planning to use the model. And so you have to give some kind of reasons, and depending on that reason, and they will allow you to access their model. Okay, that's kind of following the checking whether you are following their guidelines or some kind of standards and things like that. So for the 5.4, they didn't ask them, so I'm gonna choose the agree and proceed. Okay, so this takes me to here. And here's the model, here's the playground. Playground means you can check, you can test around before writing to the code. So I'm gonna say, hello. So if you type hello here, if you do not have permission, it will raise errors because your subscription is low, that is why, things like that. And okay, so I'm gonna ask, what is the capital city of Myanmar? Okay, the capital city of Myanmar is the Naypyidaw. So you can create, you can play around with the other information here. And they give some of the information, tokens per minute rate limit is the 1 and things like that. But here's the target UI, and okay, it's the playground and monitor and the evaluation. Okay, so in the playground, the instruction is like telling the information like I previously said. You need to tell the model what you want them to act, how you want them to act. So I expecting the model to act like a doctor or engineer or any expert you want them to act. Okay, so if you want to create the agent, you can also create an agent. If you want to embed some kind of memory means when you write the chat history, so they need to store the same amount of the chat list to remember what you have been talking about. Depending on what you send the message to them, they sometimes need to recall the history and answers and things like that. So in that case, you will need the memory. But in this tutorial, we are going to go very simple one. So that is why I do not choose anything. But for my subscription, I'm gonna use the agent. So because they are going to show me like, okay, I'm gonna give like my agent. Let's create, and I run into errors because of the different subscription type. Okay, so you are a free subscriber of this Microsoft Azure. Oh, didn't receive any message here. Okay, that's great. Okay, okay, they are now pointing me to the GPT 4.1. Wow, yes, it's working. Okay, I should okay, next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add this agent and also how to add memory and some kind of knowledge. Because sometimes you also need to connect with the federal database and to do some kind of the RAG application, so retrieval augmented application. Okay, so let's go back to the my. Okay, I'm not using the agent, so let's go to the my model. Okay, here's my model. Okay, here's my model. So I'm going to use the 5.4 mini instance, and in order to use that, I will go with the code. So if you want to implement the Visual Studio Code, this code in Visual Studio Code over this Azure, and you can click Open VS Code for the web. Okay, so it will appear VS Code. It's just the exact same themes as you can see. Your Visual Code on your local computer. Okay, things look very same. Very similar. Okay, so I am going to use this one. So endpoint is this one that when I create the project, they already give me the endpoint. Okay, this is the endpoint, and here's the name of our model and API key. API key is the key I already told you to save at the start of your projects. Okay, so here is the OpenAI. We can use the OpenAI via this the Azure. So in order to do that, we firstly create the OpenAI instance. Then the model we are going to use is like a check completion model. Check completion model is designed for developing in chat applications. So that is why I use the check completion create here. So in the OpenAI, there are some types of the functions. So depending on what you want to do, for example, there are for the chat application, you have the chat completion, and sometimes you don't want to create the like kind of back and forth chatting process. In that case, you can use another type of functions from the OpenAI. So they provide the different functions for each different process, and also you should choose probably depending on what type of things you want to do in your project. Okay, so here is the main part of the code is here. So deployment NA is we are going to use this one, the file for mini instruct, and you have to define the role and content. Can you see here? Role is a user. If you want, maybe you can add like instructor. An instructor is like telling the model, okay, so act like you are a doctor to diagnosis the people's diseases and things like that. You can also define, but in this example, they just go with the simple one. So that I'm gonna go with this setting. Okay, you can copy this one. Okay, here, how would you select here? Run model.py. So it just seems like the theme is the same, right? As you can see, you in your own local computer. So if you want to run, you have to you can run on the terminal. Just call the Python run model.py. Okay, so before running, so you have to put your API keys here. So I am going to copy my API key that I've saved before, and I'm gonna put here. So if you can write directly in the code, but actually that is not a good option. So when you run in the production, maybe somehow your code could be reviewed for some reasons, and in that case, your API key will be used by someone else, and that they can take benefit from you. And so in order to prevent that kind of situation, it's better to put your important key inside of the .env file. Okay, .env file is like keeping the important keys information. And in order to do that, you can give any kind of name, like here. Okay, I'm gonna give you like project. So all of these are generally right in capital letter, but it's up to you. If you want, you can write any letter you want. Okay, API key. So I'm going to give like this and save it. So in order to get this key, you have to call this name. So they map their name and the key together. in the env file. That is why in this case, I'm gonna call this one. Okay, in order to use that, no, you can not get directly here. You have to install first from load node.env, import load.env and load.env, and you also have to import OS and os.get. I'm not sure os.get advanced export. Okay, this one. Then save it and run it. So if it is correct, it will give you the some kind of the results. Okay, so I will say Myanmar. Save it. So make sure you save it. Okay, your file before running in the terminal. So I'm gonna run Python run model.py. Okay, so it does not recognize the load env, so I'm gonna install it. Pip install python.env, I guess. Gonna install. Okay, gonna install means dash user means you are going to give some kind of the like, okay, so this user is kind of giving the permission. So you need to give the permission to install this package. So normally in your local computer, you don't need that option, but in the Azure, they want to make sure, they want to confirm before doing anything. So let's run model.py. os.get, not os.get. Okay, let me check from the Google. No env, os.get. os.get env, okay. os.get env. Now it's working and it takes a few seconds to get the results. Okay, in the meantime, we can prepare for our Flask application. So in order to use that, you can define the Flask app.py. So we are going to create every Flask related information inside of this file. And Flask application also have to work together with the HTML file that will show the some kind of interface for the users to send the message to the model. So I am going to create like index.html. Okay. It takes why? It takes too long. Okay. So in the meantime, we are going to ask the Flask app, right? Okay, so in order to create the Flask app, you must have some kind of knowledge about web application, how to implement with the Flask. I will not be covering in very detail about this process, but you will know how to connect the idea between Python backend development and also the front end, the index.html. So for the index.html, I'm not going to write every detail. I'm going to ask the Claude to write it for me. So I'm going to ask the Flask, like here. I'm sorry, not this one. I should use this one. Okay, OS no attribute gets okay. Although I saved the file, it seems like it didn't save. So okay, I have to save again and run again. No, it's still running. So okay. I wonder why it takes too long. So maybe I should close the Okay, I want to stop. So you can press the Control C in the terminal. On the terminal. Okay, then I'm gonna run again. So Myanmar, so okay, yes, I made a spelling. MAR. Sometimes, yes, because I'm living in Myanmar and we have VPN issues. Sometimes it needs VPN, sometimes it doesn't. So you have to on and off frequently, depending on your situation. Not my situation. Okay. Okay, now it takes more time. Okay, so in the meantime, so let's go back to the cloud. I'm going to ask the cloud to write the code for me, XML file and Flask write a file, GPL like interface. Okay, then I'm gonna pass this one. Okay, so in the Flex.app, every time the customer send the message, they have to call this one. Okay, in order to do that, I have to give the code. Okay, here's my code. It shouldn't be taking that long. Okay, still processing. So while we are waiting for the process, I'm gonna try to run it locally. So I am going to create an folder like Azure app. Okay, inside of the Azure app, I want to open the VS Code, my local code. Okay, so inside of this app, I am going to create the env file, and we have to go through the same routine. So that's why I am going to save it. .env download. Then also this run model download, and also have to define the requirements. So if you want to define somewhere, you have to define what kind of library file dependency you need for your project. So if you want to tell this, everything you want to tell, you have to put it inside of the recommended text file. Okay, that's all for me. So I'm gonna run model and env. I'm gonna take it and put it inside of this one. Okay, inside of this, I am going to open the terminal and I have to activate my environment variable. That's where I install my dependencies. Actually, environment is not the txt. So I have to rename. Okay. I have to create .env. So .env and env.txt are different things. .env is called, it's kind of an environment variable file, not the text file. So .txt means the text file. Okay, so you have to delete this. Okay, then run model here. So in the meantime, I'm going to prepare to have the Flex app.py and index.html. Okay. So maybe it's because of connection is pretty slow. Okay, I prepare some. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this. Okay, chat app. Instead of the chat app, I have the and I have the chat UI. So I'm gonna put this inside of this. So I'm gonna copy everything of that chat UI. Okay, don't worry if you don't have those files. You don't need to have them. So I don't want to, waste time by implementing everything of the XML. So that's why I am going to copy some part of the codes. Okay. Okay, why it's not working? Okay, let me copy this in the desktop, and the previous one is Azure App. Okay, so let's look at this here, and okay, now Sparmy is activated. Now I'm going to run Python, run model.py. So while we're waiting for the results, so let me check back. Are we getting any results here? So we are not getting any results here. Okay, now it's coming. Okay, the capture of Myanmar as the Naypyidaw and 162 to get only short message. Okay, now we got in the Azure VS Code. And if you want to implement the Flask app, I will show you. So if we run the Flask app, if you already know about Flask, you will understand it will be running on the local host 127.0.0.1. There's a local address. Okay, if we run this, they will result like that. Okay, I will show you. But that loop address is not our computer. That will be somewhere of the Azure. Okay, that is not we expect to run because we cannot control anything on there. So that's why first of all, we are going to run on the local computer, and if everything works, so we are going to transform it into the zip folder, and then I'm going to upload to the Azure and deploy to get the final endpoint and to make it accessible to the others. Okay. Okay. So here are the chat app. So everything is written here. Okay. So I'm gonna copy and paste. But that was written. I don't know when I was written. Maybe last week. So I am going to use the different endpoints. So here's the previous endpoint. So that's why I am going to use the run model. Okay. Here's the endpoint that I have just created in this video. So I need to use this endpoint. So endpoint change every time you create your project. Okay. So this is the endpoint. Okay. And for the project API key, I have to make sure this is the env project API key. Okay. Okay, there's my env, and for the chat, okay, UI. Okay, so I'm gonna put it inside of the index. Then I'm going to delete this one, UI, and this one. Okay, delete. Okay, now the Python run model of UI is running. So depending on your internet speed, it will return in short time. But for me, it takes a little bit longer. But when although I call the functions to the cloud to write for me, but I didn't use this. So if you want, you can use this here. Okay, so it takes time, so I'm quite impatient and go to the old folders, old files to write the information. Okay, so here's why it is running about the run model. So I'm going to create another one called the cmd command prompt. So what I want to do is I want to implement activate. I am going to run my Flask app. So inside of the Flask app, they're going to call the index.html, and that you will see at the interface, like we can chat with the large language model, find for. Okay. Okay, it takes a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to run Python Flask app.py. So in the meantime, I have to create the requirement text file. Okay. .txt. Yes, inside of it, I'm going to tell the server these are the dependency I need for this project. So Azure, when you okay, now it's getting. Oh my gosh, this internet server. Chat UI. Okay, so inside of this one, I render the different URL that I already deleted before. So I have to tell them, okay, this is not the chat UI. You have to render. It should be index.html. So after you saving, it will reload. It will refresh the contents. not refresh contents. Okay, if you want to see the automatic changes on your website whenever you update in your code, you have to write like debug but true. Okay. For me, I think I have to rerun it. Okay, this is what run model is still working. So I'm calling the run model, and inside of this model, they are trying to use the endpoint and trying to get the answer. Okay. Okay, this one. Okay, it's working. Okay, now it's working. So I am gonna send the message. So I did not write the code UI. So after writing the message, you're gonna hit enter. So you have to, can you see? Hi, hello, how can I assist you today? So this is the rough line from the file 4 that you use from the Microsoft Azure. Then okay, I'm going to ask you, can you teach me how to be an AI engineer? What kinds of tools I should learn? You have to wait a bit. So here it's working. So when you run the web page, if you see the 200, 200 means it's working. So if you see like a 404, 404 is like your web page is not exist. So that's why 404 error. Okay. Now it's appear 200 here. That means they give the result. Can you see? So you can just come in back here to see the results, or you can just looking at this one, and every time you send the new message and they trying to process this and showing the result back in the terminal by programming the line each line one by one. Okay. Okay, that's how we set up. Now we are ready to post it on the Azure for public web page. So currently, what we can do is this will only work on my computer. So localhost. So if you want to share your application with others, it's not possible because you haven't created any domain URL to make it accessible for the others. So let's do this. Okay, let's move on to the creating that kind of application. So in order to do that, you have to collect. Okay, so for me, run model is just for running the testing the model. It is working or not. So the actual process happen only in the Flask app and index.html. And also I also need requirements, but requirements should be rename as the S, so you shouldn't give the misspelling. Okay, so these are only 3 files I need, so that is why I will create a zip file. Okay, so before zip file, I need to check this requirement has the same. Okay, correct. So then I'm going to zip it. Okay, so when you create the zip file, so in the Azure, your upload folder must have the direct application file. Okay, so in my case, I gave the Flex app. Okay, let's focus on here. My file name is the Flex app. Inside of this, I create the Flex with the app. Can you see here? So with the app. Okay, this is how I have to write in some kind of comments in the Azure. You will see how you have to write. Okay, so let's go back to that file. So I'm going to create a zip file. Okay, I'm going to create the zip file. So I don't need env file. So you might be wondering why we don't need. Because inside of that env file, we need some kind of this kind of key, right? So this kind of key, we have another alternative way to define the environment variable in Azure. Okay, so let's go back to the Azure. It's working fine on my local computer. So let's see how it works in the public domain. So in order to do that, you have to go to the portal. Okay, so portal Azure is the home page, and you will see every available services. So that's for us. I am going to use the web page, create a web page. So I'm going to use only web page service, okay, and the app service. And there are three types. I click the app service, and then I'm going to click create and web page, web app. Okay, so you're going to find the resource name. So I will leave it like a blank, and it will give the default resource group. So the most important thing is you must give that kind of the web app. Okay, I'm going to say chat app demo. Okay, so for the runtime stack, you can give the Python. So I'm going to give the Python 3.11. And so you might be wondering why we give the Python 3.11 is I don't know. When I check, when I play with the 12 or 13, it is kind of problematic. So the 3.11 is kind of stable for me. So at this point of making this video, 3.11 is the best for me. That's why I chose this one. Okay, for the region, okay, Canada Central is not work for me. So I'm gonna choose the Japanese. Click review and create. I don't use any database here, so that is why I skip all of the database stuff and directly jump into the final creation. Okay, so if you want, you can check here. So the validation process is fully finished, so I can create now. So you can see there's some kind of progress here, and it is created. You will see some kind of the user interface. And you will see your own application, and once it is done, you can configure what type of process you want to continue. Okay, now it's still working. Deployment is in progress, so I cannot do anything. I have to just wait. So I'll come back after getting. Okay, now the deployment succeeded is done. So I'm going to go to the resource. So can you see? I already I already gave the command to the Azure. So I'm going to create the one application. So I haven't done anything yet. I just only created, demo. It's just kind of template. So if you want to test it is going well or not, you can browse there. So they will give you your application name, and the remaining part is like their region and their how to say their website. Okay, here you can check your default domain will be like the chat apps demo. So this is what I give to my application, and then the some kind of keys, and this is the region you choose, and that is their website. Okay, that is the default domain. I maybe because of the subscription type, so I cannot choose my own default domain. Maybe if you use another type of the subscription, maybe you can get your own name.com, and you can get whatever you like. Okay. Okay, this is my subscription type is Azure for student, so that is why it needs. So for this project, I don't need subscription ID. For other types of the project, you will need the subscription ID because they need to check it is within that subscription type or not. Okay. Okay, so while it is working, it takes a little bit of time. Okay. It's exhausting, to on and off the VPN same time. That's because of this. Okay, you can skip this part. Okay, if you're not have problem with the VPN. Okay, so if you want to know what is happening, for your website. So here, can you see the application is running successfully, and but you haven't put out any your content here. So that is why we have to go back to the main panel and have to add some part of the parameters to show our content. Okay. Okay, so let's get into the some parameters. We should do something. So like I explained earlier, so we need to define the environment variable. Okay, so in order to do that, you have to create the environment variables. So that environment variable telling the server that what specific. Okay, so next one is I have to tell the server, okay, these are the information we are going to use. So for the value, it's just giving true. All should be in small cap and applying it. So if you do not enter these two variables, what can happen is your Azure web page will not install the requirement.txt file. So that will create the problem in module not found errors because the model do not know. They have to install from the TXT file. So this parameter is telling that, okay, you do not apply yourself and use the requirements the text file, and I already rolled out all the dependencies. You have to install them. So it's like telling them to do that. Okay, then just click apply and confirm. Okay, so after that, I am going to create a configuration. The configuration is telling like when we run the, you have to go to the stack settings. Okay, so here, the app. So in the app, the first application app, I am going to use the Flask app because my Python name is the Flask app. Okay, so Flask app, and second one is the name you gave in your function. Sorry, in your code. The function name is app, right? Yes, this app. So if you write a different name, you have to, must have the same, the name, your code, your file, and your command. Otherwise, it will not be working. And then before clicking the apply, so I have to go back here. I created the Azure app. Okay, so inside of this Flask app, right? Inside of this Flask app, I have three: Flask app, index, and requirements. Only these three. So that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's go back. Then I'm going to apply it. You have to wait a little bit, few minutes until it shows like update stack session settings. It's just like showing the process is successfully finished. And then go to the deployment center. Deployment center is for uploading your code files. So you can choose the different options here. Would you connect with the GitHub and look at Git and Azure repos? And Azure repo is like you are going to store your code file somewhere of the Azure. So for me, I'm going to publish files new, and then I'm going to browse where it locates. So for me, it locates Azure app, and then Flask app, then save it. So saving the code takes a while for me, maybe for you. It will done instantly. So depending on how much memory size you have, it will take a few times. But maybe because of my VPN setting, it might take more time than the usual. Now it's done. Saving the code settings. Now everything is set up and it's ready to start your application. So go to the browse, and it will appear your web page if everything runs smoothly. Okay, I hope this works. Okay, so in the meantime, while loading your website, if it run into some errors, so you can check a code today by checking the log screen. So log screen is like your own CMD, command line tools, and showing every information, what's happened. So if you caught and some kind of errors, then you can check here, and it's showing some kind of the errors. Okay. Okay. Seems to be working. Okay, now it's appear. Okay, let's check with the Hive. Now it's coming. Can you see? So can you tell me the name of the university that okay, so I'm going to ask the different question. Okay, can you tell me the city of Myanmar? Just the people living there. You need to wait a little bit. Here, okay, it's here. with the capacity of minimize the inhibitor, and they are just giving me extra information like economy, education, healthcare. So that's done. You can share your link with the public, and it will be working as long as you host it in the Azure. With this, you have to host the 2.0. You have to host your 5.4 on the Microsoft Foundry, and also you have to host your application. So as long as you want. So as long as you host, you have to pay the price. Okay. Okay, that's it. This is how we finish our web application, and I finished all of these steps mentioned here. And first of all, we define the model, AI Foundry, and get the model that we want, and then write the flags and UI, and these are important the part of the creating the web. But I do not go detail because this is about showing how to implement, how to deploy the model. Okay. Then we tested locally. So the local, this is the local chatbot, and this is the chatbot that is make it publicly available. Okay. So now we deploy the web app. Now you can use this kind of the application. Okay, that's it. So I'm going to share the code in the comment of this video, and if you want, you can check. But you have to change your own API and your own endpoints. Okay, so I'm going to delete that part. And thank you so much for watching until the end, and see you next time with the new contents. Thank you. Bye bye.